Welcome to another loot farm video. This time we are in Prifddinas. We are going to be thieving from the Elves to see what supplies and loots we can obtain. First of all, you will need a minimum of 85 thieving and of course the Song of the Elves quest and its pre-quests. Recommended items would be 50 agility for obtaining the rogue's equipment and access to dodgy necklaces. The setup I'm going to be using is full rogues for its double loot when pickpocketing, as well as a thieving cape as I already have 99. I should also note that I have completed the hard diary, which also gives an extra 10% increase for a successful pickpocket. As you can see, I'm also wielding a butterfly net, as the area I'm going to be showing you frequently spawns crystal implings. If you have the level 80 hunter required to catch them, I would recommend bringing a net. My inventory is simple. I have a jar for any implings that spawn, 3 to 4 dodgy necklaces, and 10 pieces of food. Dodgy necklaces aren't required, however they hold 10 charges each and provide 25% chance of not being stunned when you fail a pickpocket, resulting in more pickpockets per hour. You can also do this method without food if you were to move your player-owned house to Prifddinas and have an ornate divination pool inside. Now the best spot I have found is this house just west of the player-owned house portal. You can hop and find a world where the elf named Mithrilus is already trapped inside. What you need to do is get her behind the door. Once she's there, simply open the door and trap her in place. You're probably wondering about the NPC reset timers, which occurs when an NPC is in the same tile for a period of time. Well, the amazing thing about this spot is that after 3 minutes the door automatically closes itself, meaning she is free to move a tile. You simply have to wait for her to walk back, which usually only takes a couple of seconds, and then repeat. You can also position your camera so that you can simply left and right click without moving your mouse, if you want this a little more AFK. Unfortunately, there isn't a super AFK method for these elves, because you cannot left click them, so you do have to reset the elf every 3 minutes, which isn't too much of an issue. You also get the chance of crystal implings spawning twice every hour. There are other methods out there for thieving these elves, however this requires no other players, so you can do it solo. Now let's get into some thieving while I talk some more about these pointy-eared creatures. You can also enable the Runelight plugin called Pickpocket Info, which shows you your success rate, the charges left on your dodgy necklace, and how many pouches you have in your inventory. It's not super helpful, but it's nice to know a bit more information. There are 49 different elves around Prifddinas that can be pickpocketed for their loots. Fun fact, all the names of the elves around Prif are named after the elves from J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium. Each pickpocket is worth 2.6k or 5.3k if you're wearing the full rogue's outfit. There are only 9 different loots that you can get from these elves, which are coins, death runes, nature runes, fire orbs, diamond, gold ore and jugs of wine. The 2 loots not on the main table are crystal shards and the enhanced crystal teleport seed. Although there may not be a big variety on the table, they are still useful for your account, whether you are a main or an ironman. Gold ore is considered the best smithing resource in game, whether on a main or an ironman, and almost every account uses death runes and nature runes. Fire orbs are also pretty useful for crafting experience on an ironman, good for alching once attached to battle staffs, or for a main will be frequently traded on the Grand Exchange. Diamonds can be used for bolt tips, or sold on the Grand Exchange, and coins, well, I don't really need to explain those. Finally, you will find the jugs of wine very useful, as it is frequently obtainable food to use while pickpocketing. It can help extend your trips between banking. If the main loots don't sound very enticing, that's because the main reason for pickpocketing these elves is for the enhanced teleport crystal. You can get this at a rate of 1 in 1024. This may sound like a lot, however you can achieve up to 460 successful pickpockets an hour, depending on your current thieving level, whether you have hard diary completed, and the use of dodgy necklaces. I managed to achieve 400 pickpockets an hour using the method I showed you earlier, and with my stats of course. On average, you should be able to get 2 teleport seeds every 2.55 hours at level 99. Of course, this is while you're using the rogue outfit for the double loots. At level 55 thieving, it will take you more like 3.75 hours. The chance of a successful pickpocket at 99 is 47.5% with the thieving cape and the hard diary. This drops to 37.3% at 85 thieving, giving you a maximum of 319 pickpockets an hour. As the name suggests, the enhanced crystal teleport seed gives you unlimited teleports in Lecture or Prifddinas when used with 100 crystal shards on the singing bowl located in Prifddinas. This requires level 80 smithing and crafting, which grants 5000 XP in both of these skills. If you don't have those levels, you can pay an extra 50 shards to Conweer or Reese to do it for you. If you wear the rogue's outfit and receive 2 enchanted teleport crystals, you will be glad to hear that you can exchange one for 150 shards by speaking to Amrod. So from one successful pickpocket of a crystal, you are set to charge it as well. If you are just hunting for crystal shards, you have a 5% chance with each successful pickpocket of receiving a single shard. This chance is rolled before the main loot table. You of course get 2 shards wearing the rogue's outfit. And there we go, 15,000 pickpockets completed. I quite enjoyed that, it was pretty relaxing. Let's go and check out what we got. First of all, I changed my inventory a little bit during this grind. I found the correct ratio for me, most of the time, to be 3 dodgy necklaces while wearing 1 and 13 karambwans. It does depend on getting wine loots and how much you fail, so sometimes you run out of food or sometimes you have food left and no necklaces. I found 1 jar to be plenty as you bank fairly frequently. I won't be opening up the crystal implings this video because I'm saving them for a future video, so keep an eye out for that one. I also started using a variety of foods because I wanted to save my higher level foods. You could quite easily do this with jugs of wine you most likely have lying around in your bank from training cooking. They work just as well and are basically free food. During this grind we used approximately 400 dodgy necklaces, so you could use that to work out how many you would need for however many elves you wish to do. Now for the loots. I'll split them into 2 categories, for Iron Man and for mains. First of all, we got 236 gold ore, which is worth 13.2k smithing experience. It may not be a huge amount, but as gold is considered the best smithing XP in game, it's useful for both account types. And as I mentioned earlier, elves are mostly thieved for their uniques, which I'll get into in a bit. We received quite a nice amount of runes, and they are very useful runes as well. 3,768 death runes, and 3,576 nature runes. Some nice runes for burst and barrage tasks on an Iron Man right there, and plenty of nature runes for keeping up with the alkaballs as well. Remains, if you were to sell the runes, you would make 1.4 mil GP. Now I'm really happy about the fire orbs. Even though I am already 99 crafting, adding them to battle staffs will get you 57.5k XP and a further 4.2 mil GP from alching them afterwards. Oh, and look, you can also use those nature runes that we got as well. Most irons have a random stack of battle staffs in their banks from a variety of places, so activities that drop orbs are pretty nice. Now for a main, you could either sell them on the GE for 534k, as they are pretty actively traded, or again add them to staffs and out them, or sell them as a staff if you can't be asked to out them. You can also find additional crafting experience with the diamonds. However, as an Iron Man, you will likely use these for diamond bolts, so right here is 2,600 bolt tips. I doubt that you have any of the wines left over, but although they aren't a nice collectible resource, they are super helpful during the grind. It's free passive food, meaning less banking, longer trips, and saves you on your own supplies from the bank. We got a free 14,520 hit points worth of food, if anyone was curious. I would say the biggest loot you can get from these is coins, including the pouches. We got a total of 6.6 mil GP, which I'm sure will come in useful on both Iron Man and mains. But the reason you would be here is for the enchanted teleport seeds. And as you can see, overall we ended up getting 26 of them. At a 1 in 1,024 chance, this is pretty much on drop rate. As you saw in the clips, I didn't get my first one until 3k KC, so I went pretty dry. But it does work out eventually, as you can see, although you could expect one more in this drop rate. On the GE, these are worth a massive 2.4 mil each, and total a whopping 62.9 mil GP for all of them. That is where most of the GP comes from this method. However, as an Iron Man, you don't need more than one for the teleports. So what do you do with the rest of them? Well, you can break them down into 150 crystal shards each and use them for various things, such as making potions, adding to crystal keys, and for crystal weaponry. You can also drop trade them over, but it seems like a waste to me. 25 enhanced crystals will give you 3,750 charges on your Iron Man. That will last you a while for sure, along with the 838 shards we got from the elves themselves. If you are a main, shards can also net you a really nice amount of profit, and here's how. Adding crystal dust, which you get when you use a pestle and mortar on a shard to give 10 dust per shard, to various potions can make their price increase significantly. According to the wiki, adding dust to the highest level potion, the Super Combat, makes each shard worth an additional 17.8k each. This is why this thieving method is considered such high GP per hour. At lower herblore levels, you get as low as 2k GP per shard. I'll put up a chart on screen from the wiki for the different potions. Overall, this method turns out to be around 2.5 mil GP per hour for mains, and of course, less for irons, but the GP isn't the main factor on those accounts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to make them as detailed as possible. If you like this video, then drop the video a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And don't forget to check out my Impling Only Ultimate Ironman series. If you have any suggestions for loot farm videos, drop them down below as well. See you next time!